So there are a lot of great tools in Illustrator. We're not going to go a lot very in depth with this because I want to focus more on some other programs, but um, a few different key points here. So over here on the left hand side, this is our tool workspace. So all our drawing tools, our selection tools, stuff that we create shapes with is going to be over on this side. On this right side, if it looks like mine, your workspace again, you can change the workspace by going to Window, Workspace, and clicking on Basic Panel Type or add your own, depending on what you want to do. Just make sure you have that navigator selected. So you have the navigator again, which zooms in and out. We're not really going to worry too much about anything in here other than the color swatches. Okay, there's different brushes over here. There's different symbols. We'll get into in a second. But on the right hand, on the left hand side, a couple good tools. You have the line tool. So if I want to draw lines, I can just click and drag. If you hold shift, that'll lock at 45-degree and 90-degree angles and allows you to draw a straight line. So just remember that if you're drawing lines, you can hold shift and I can click and drag lines. Now, what you want to make sure when you're drawing, on the bottom left here of this toolbar, this is the stroke palette and then the fill palette. The stroke palette is this one that looks like a square with a square inside a little square. So that's going to be the color of the line around whatever object it is. So if I click this, and I'll make this black, hit OK. Now whatever I draw will be black. So I'm just clicking random lines here. And as you're drawing, if you make a mistake on something you don't want, just hit Control Z. What that does, undoing undoes whatever you did. If you made a mistake, just Control Z. So make sure whatever you're drawing is either black or red or light gray, right? That's what we're working with the laser cutter. So for example, if I want to draw a line, again, I click, drag, hold shift if I want it straight, and I have a black line. There's arcs in here, so I could draw arcs. You can play around with the different tools and settings on Illustrator. There's a spiral tool. A bunch of different tools in here. Grids, you can make a polar grid, a bunch of stuff. If you click here and you can hold down, there's a bunch of shapes: star, ellipse, round, rectangle. So for example, if I wanted to draw a rectangle, I could click that, click and drag whatever shape I want. Now you notice I have a black outline and a white interior. So another good tool to know is the selection tool. So if I click that, that allows me to now click whatever shape I've created. I can click and drag. I can move it. I can also resize it by dragging any of the corners here and rotate it. If I highlight over one of the ends here, this allows me to twist my object into another direction. So a lot of this is just kind of playing with the shapes and seeing what they all do. But say I wanted to make the inside black instead of the outline black. What I can do here, I can click this little arrow button and that reverses those colors. It swaps them out. If you hold over that, it will tell you what it does. So I click that and it inverts it, or it swaps the colors out. So now I have a black rectangle instead of a black outline rectangle. Maybe I want a black outline and a red interior. What I can do is click or double click that fill square and change it to whatever color I want. So for example, if I wanted this to be red, hit OK. Now I have a black rectangle with a red filled red. If I wanted to reverse this, I can click that little arrow here next to it, and that swaps them out. To select the object that I want to switch, so select it, and then I can switch the colors back and forth. Okay, and that goes for any shape. So say I wanted to draw a star. Maybe I wanted the star to be yellow inside, red outside. Great. I could also click that and reverse the colors there. Again, the laser wouldn't read this. The laser only reads blacks and grays and red for the cut, but just an example of what you can do with the shapes and the colors. So that's an important tool to remember, this palette bar over here. For the most part, we're always going to leave this in black and white or black and red, depending on what we're doing. So if I wanted to design a text box that was going to be cut out, I could click the rectangle tool, that is filled black, so I'm going to reverse that so it's black outline. But we actually want to make that red so it cuts. So I'll make that red. So I know whatever is inside this little rectangle here is going to be cut out. And then what I'll do is I click the text bar here, just like in Google Drawings. If I click the text bar, I can click and now put my text. And again, if you select that little black selection tool, this allows me to now move this around. I can stretch it out to the correct size I want. All right, this is where you're going to do most of your work. Don't worry too much about this other stuff on the right-hand side. You have the T for text, obviously, the paintbrush, the pencil, the swatch colors over here, which change, again, from the outline color to the fill color. And that'll help you kind of get started with a lot of these tools.